Today's video is about the immersed grown aquatic plant farm, and this is one of my favorites. I've been waiting to do a video on this, and today is that day. Hello and welcome back to another video, another vlog. Today we're talking about my immersed grown aquatic plants. So right here, all of these plants are actually aquatic plants, and I'll list them all right now. But over here, the first plant, we've got 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗍𝘀𝘀. And this is a pretty neat looking plant. I started off with like 6 little stems, well 3 stems that I cut into like 6 pieces, and then I planted them, and now we've got this huge lot of them, and that is pretty incredible. And then the one beside it right here, this is 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀, also known as the needle leaf 𝗯𝘂𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀. It turns a reddish orangish color in the aquarium. Really beautiful looking plant. And these are just trimmings I used from my 120 centimeter 4-foot planted aquarium. This right here, this is 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀, and pretty interesting story about how I started this. I'll show you guys back to a few months ago during the winter when I planted these in. It's February 2021 right now, the coldest month of the year in Japan, and I've just planted in randomly a bunch of this 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀 that I had sitting around. It's in horrible condition. The stems have lost like most of its leaves, and it's just barely surviving. I've been neglecting this plant and keeping it with no lights, no heater, so it's been sitting in a freezing cold tank, but it's been surviving. Over here I've put in just like 5 stems, 5 really weak stems of 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀. I don't know how those will do, but we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this outside, try to get as much sunlight on this as possible, and we'll see in a couple of months if this will grow immersed. So you can see how much it's grown since then. That was when, like 2 or 3, I think 3 or 4 months ago, I planted a couple of these stems in, and now it's turned into this huge clump of it. And I didn't do anything, I just left it outside, gave it some sun, gave it some soil, and I'll tell you how I did this in a little while, because we'll set some more plants up. But right next to that, we've got 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀, and I actually have all the labels inside. They're just getting covered up because the plants are just growing like crazy. But here you can see 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀. Beautiful looking plant. Also, all these plants look different when they're grown inside aquarium, but here you can see 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀. And the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀, they're still in there. You can kind of see right here, this little fine leaf plant right there. There's a few of them in here, but they were growing really well until I put this 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀 in, and the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀 just grew super fast. It covered up the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀, so I'm gonna have to get the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 out someday and put them in a container of their own. Over here we've got just the regular 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀. This is just the standard type. You can see all of these flowers, which is pretty insane. And then over here we've got 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀. When grown in an aquarium, this plant turns super red. It's like one of the most stunning, very frequently used plants in high-tech aquascapes. And then on this one we've got 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀. This one has also grown crazy, like insane. And then this one too, 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝑆uperRed. And this one, I started off with 2 little tiny stems, and now we've got this huge bunch of it. Isn't that just insane, guys? Take a look at this, and this stuff really makes me excited. So yeah, I love this. So these are just 4 trays that I've got right here, and I've split them in half, so we've got 8 different plants in there. And now I've got a few more down over here, but let's take a look at these. These ones are not in very good conditions, especially this right now, because I've been neglecting it a little bit. But right here I've got just the regular 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 green, so the green variety, really beautiful plant, but you can see there's a little bit of white leaves, and that's because I left the cover on this too long, so the sun was beating down on it, and I think it dried up a little bit, so unfortunate there. But here's another 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀. This one's called Ceylon. Pretty tough to see, but yeah, a little bit slower with these guys, not too sure why. But then next to that, over here we've got a different type of 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀, and this is a beautiful looking plant, grown submersed. The leaves are super fine and they look incredible. And then here as well, 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝑉ietnam, a reddish growing plant. Almost all the plants here, I'm gonna say, look beautiful underwater, and that's because plants to me are beautiful. But here we've got 𝗲𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀, a carpeting plant, 𝗲𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀, and this one has been doing amazing until the other day. Again, I left the lid on this for too long and it started drying up a little bit, but no worries there, it'll recover. And then here we've got Monte Carlo, so a little bit slower, but no problem. You just gotta be patient with plants. And since these are all aquatic plants, they need lots of water. So if you take a look closely at the soil line is right there and the water is up right there. So there's a lot of water in here. This one is a little bit low on water, but yeah, you need lots of water for these plants to grow and thrive because they are aquatic plants. This one is a little bit dry right now, so I'm just gonna add some water in there. And what I do is I just have this bucket. This has just been rainwater that I've been collecting out here, and I like to just pour it in. It doesn't matter how you do this, but I just like to get them nice and wet, and this really helps them grow. If you keep them dry, they're gonna get all crispy and it's not gonna be good for them. So you want the soil to be nice and damp, wet, soaky. Yeah, I don't know, just make sure it's wet. Oh, and I also forgot I had one more right here. This one was doing terrible the first few months, but now it's starting to take off. This is sorry, got the wrong side on. 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝘀, and this is a cool looking plant. It's a stem plant, but it doesn't grow so tall. Even in the aquarium, it's a low growing stem plant, so you can carpet this easily. And even now, immersed grown, it doesn't grow that tall, so that's pretty interesting. And then right here, I don't know what this is, what this 𝗲𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀 is doing here, but I probably just accidentally planted it, but I gotta get rid of this. Put this here. This thing should recover, so not too worried about that. But yeah, I also had one more over here, 𝗲𝗾𝗾𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀, and this I was just testing out with a different substrate, and it doesn't seem to be working too well, so I'm sticking with this black color substrate, and I'll show you what it is in just a short while. Alright, so you only need a few things to do this project. So first, you'll need a container to put your plants in, and this one is one I got at the home center for around $2 or $3, something like that. Pretty cheap, but pretty good quality. It's good plastic right there. Or if you don't have that, you can just use a styrofoam box like this, similar size, and it'll work perfectly fine. But this thing, it won't last you many years because this plastic will break down, it'll crack, and it'll get brittle. So if you want something that'll last a long time, go with a container like this. You'll need some soil, so I like to mix my soil. I've got this thing called akadama soil. They use it for like bonsai and stuff, but I like to mix this with some of this cheap flower and vegetable soil. I don't know, it's like potting soil, I'm not too sure, but I got this big 25-liter bag for around $3 or $4, same price as this thing, and you'll be able to use this many times. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix these two together into this container, and I'll show you what it looks like. Put a little bit more of that akadama soil on top of this, kind of like that, and then we'll mix this up a little bit more. Just like that. And then we'll finish it off with more of this flower vegetable soil. And there it is. Now it's ready for planting. You really don't need this akadama soil right here. I only use this because I saw some other guy mix these two together and it worked for him, so that's what I'm doing. But you can really just get away with this flower vegetable potting soil, whatever you call this in English, because I've also done it with just this and it works perfectly fine. So now let's get this thing wet and we can start planting it. So when I plant, I like to get the water level to be the same level as the soil. So the soil is this level, I'll get as much water until it reaches the surface of the soil. So kind of like this, you can see it's like partially covered with water. So now it makes planting really easy. So I've just organized this area a little bit because it was getting too messy. I didn't have space to move around. And if you're wondering where we are right now, this is the balcony on the second floor. So it's where I collect all my driftwood. Right now you can see it's just crazy. I'm piling up all this driftwood so that I have some aquascaping materials. But yeah, this is the garden below. Overgrown jungle. I really want to build a goldfish pond down there someday, but let's get back on topic. So I've set 2 of these up right now. This one doesn't have a divider. I need to make one of those, but this one has a divider. This one's been up and running for a while. I actually had plants in here during the winter, but they died because it just got too cold for them. And yeah, but now there's a bunch of worms in here, and there's some type of fly, kind of like a fruit fly, but you can see a bunch of worms, but that's really not a big issue. You might get worms if you do this. This one had a bunch of worms when it started, but right now, as you can see, the plants are doing fine. There's no more of those worms and flies in there. It's just a temporary thing. So if you see worms in yours, don't panic, don't worry. I mean, this is nature right here, so you can see this one. I set this up about a month ago, and this is doing amazing. 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗿𝗲𝘀. Yeah, beautiful. This is one of my favorite plants. Stem plants. Okay, so here I've got my stuff that I'm going to plant all the plants. So this right here, water sprite. So this one I think I'm gonna put in here. I really want to grow more water sprite. I only have 2 of these right now. The others are in my tanks. So I'm gonna try to grow more of those by just using 2 that I have. And then 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, take a look at this plant, this giant leaf. That is awesome. So we're gonna plant that one over there, and I'll probably break this up. I've got 2 of these as well, so I'll probably break them up into like 4 pieces. This one I can't really do that, so yeah, I'll break that up, get more. And then here I've got some 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 that I trimmed from my 4-foot tank, the aquascape tank. So we'll plant that in there. 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 trimmings. And then another one that I've got is 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, or however you say that. I don't know, but this one's got some cool text, cool patterns on its leaves. It's really hard to see right now because it's covered in algae, but in your aquarium this plant will turn a pinkish color, and you can see all those veins on the leaves. That shows in the aquarium too, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how this plant does immersed. But we'll get these 2 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀s into this section, and these 2 into this section. So the 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, this giant leaf plant, beautiful plant. I've only got 2 of them, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm just gonna break them at this point right here, this node of the stem. I'm just gonna bend it or pull it just like that, and now I've got 2 pieces from that one stem. So there's 2, and I'll do the same thing with this giant piece. Why should I break it off though? Maybe I shouldn't do it with this. Alright, I'll just leave this one. Planting, I just like to push it in the soil. Same thing goes for these ones. I'll probably remove these giant leaves because they get in the way. And a cool thing is that roots will form from the places where you pluck out the leaves. So just plant that in there. And I've got one more. I'll plant that right there. Same thing with this water sprite. You can just use your fingers as well. Just kind of shove it in there. Just like that. Get it upright. And there it is. That's all. So I've planted in the polysperma right there. You can see there's like 7 stems, but that's totally enough to get this thing going. Soon it'll look just like this in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But yeah, right now I've got the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗀 with a nice veiny patterns on the leaves, and I've got a ton of this, but it doesn't have to be in very good condition. Like you can see here, I've even got stems that don't even have any leaves on them, but even if you just plant this, you'll get a bunch of growth because it's immersed. The plants have got unlimited CO2, so they'll do so much better in these types of conditions rather than in an aquarium with weak lighting and no CO2. Yeah, they'll thrive here. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant these in, and I'll get back to you in just a moment. And there it is, the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗀 has been planted. Now it doesn't have to look pretty. The plants will do its own thing, so just let it be. 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝘀 here. I like to keep my containers organized with the plants. So if I have 𝗲𝗾𝗀 here, I want 𝗲𝗾𝗀 there. If I've got rotala here, then I want rotala over there. If I've got Ludwigia, then I want another species of Ludwigia in the same container. If I've got a foreground carpeting plant, I want another foreground carpeting plant. So I like to just keep my things organized, even though I've got them all labeled. I don't know, it's just the way I like to do things. So right now we're not done yet. There's one more step, and that step is to add just a little bit more water into these trays or containers, whatever you call them, so that the plants don't dry out. They are aquatic plants, as I mentioned, and they like lots of water, so we'll add a little bit more to the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀. Perfect. Alright, so it's been about a week since the initial setup, and the plants have been doing really great. You can see it's raining a little bit right now, but the plant has grown, especially that 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝘀. You can see it's grown above the container, so that's really great. And you can also see the water sprite is putting out new leaves, so I'm really happy about that. And one thing I really need to do with these containers is I need to build like an overflow. Well, just drill a hole into each container, like somewhere around here. So if it rains too much, the water will just flow out, because if you get heavy rain, the containers will fill up with water, and it's okay for the plants since these plants are aquatic plants, but if you leave them submerged underwater for too long, then their leaves will start to die off and stuff. So I want to drill holes so that there's somewhere for the water to flow out. But take a look at the water sprite. You can see the older leaves are dying off there. They're turning brown and stuff, but there's a bunch of new leaves around here, which is amazing. So I'm really happy about that. The water sprite is so nice. One of my favorite plants. And then over here, the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝘀, you can see the 3 that we planted initially, and now there's a 4th one coming out here. So where we broke the stem, 2 new shoots are coming out, so that's pretty amazing. And then here's one big one. Yeah, but the plants are doing well. The 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗀 is slowly recovering. The Monte Carlo also is slowly growing, so I'm really happy about that. The 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 which is amazing, and you'll see a bunch of the aquatic leaves die off. So that's just normal, so don't worry about that when you see that happen. Alright, it's been a couple more days since that last clip, and it rained again yesterday, so you can see there's quite a bit of water in the little containers, so that's why I need to put some holes in so that we can have some drainage, because too much water, as I mentioned before, is not good for the immersed grown plants. So yeah, we gotta drill holes in there. I won't do that today, but I will do that in the future. You can see the Monte Carlo is starting to come together, so I'm really happy with this. The Glossostigma also recovering. But yeah, take a look at this. So we started off with 3 plants. Now we've got 1 here. We've got 1 starting to come out from the side here. We've got this nice one, and then we've got 2 here. So what's that? 2, 4, 5. And we started off with 3, so that's really nice. The water sprite is doing pretty good. You can see the old leaves just dying back. You can cut those off, but I don't have scissors with me right now here as well for the 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗲𝗀𝘀, but I just leave that there. Really no problems with that whatsoever. And then the 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀, so you can see just the regular polysperma is doing pretty good. All the leaves dying back, the submerged leaves, but then you've got the immersed growth, so I just leave all the leaves like that. And then the Watanabe looks really, really nice. Look at all the little new growth starting to form. So 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 is pretty fast at growing. We should get some of the veins to come out on the leaves. Let's see if we can see that. So yeah, you can see a bit of the veining patterns on the leaves right there. So yeah, I hope to do more updates on the mini ponds, not mini ponds, the mini plant farms soon in the future. One thing that I really want to do is I want to build a rack for this, because right now they're just sitting on the floor and on the shelf right here. I need to build a proper rack where I can stack them up, because if I just put them all over the floor, I'm not going to have any space to walk. So I'm probably going to build a wood rack or get a metal rack. I'm not too sure yet, still thinking about it. But yeah, that is the plan for the future. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. I'll definitely be doing more updates on this and hopefully building a rack for my plants soon. I really wanted to do it downstairs, but it's just an overgrown jungle down there, and I've been making videos of me cleaning out this jungle and cutting back all the weeds and just, I don't know, making it usable so that you can see it's empty over there, so that I can build my goldfish pond. So if you're interested in that and you want to help support this channel, consider becoming a member. It really helps this channel a lot, but of course I understand if you can't. No worries there. Just watching the videos alone helps out a lot, so thank you always, and I'll see you guys next time.